The Houston Texans defense is getting so much praise for what it did against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday night. Ended their season. Are they a historic unit? Do they deserve a nickname? We talk about that, who's been soft in the world of sports, and I'll give you some old-fashioned brain rot in the middle of the week. I'm Paul Gallant. This is the Gallant Says podcast on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. Hit it! Oi! Welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast, live on YouTube at Paul Gallant, Twitch at Gallant Says, Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports, Instagram at Sports Gallant, TikTok at Gallant Says, on X at Gallant Says Pod. You can also get it after the fact in podcast form, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. Everyone is glazing the Houston Texans defense. Deservedly, they are doing some really impressive stuff. One of those impressive things, a historic thing, this defense is the only team in the last 40 years to hold opponents under 225 pass yards in each of those first 13. With a pass-friendly league, with all sorts of things in favor of offenses getting big numbers and fantasy football owners being happy. That's what this team has done on a regular basis. And just think about some of the quarterbacks that they have frustrated, specifically the last two seasons. Josh Allen probably had the worst performance of his career last year against the Texans and then struggled a couple of weeks ago. You've seen earlier this year, Matt Stafford struggled to make it happen. He might be front runner for MVP. Patrick Mahomes Sunday night. More from last season as well, where that defense was also very impressive. They intercepted Jared Goff 5 times in a Sunday night football game. They intercepted Tua Tagovailoa. At the time, we liked Tua probably a little bit more than we do now, that's for sure. The only team that they've really had issues with and quarterback that they've really had issues with were what Lamar Jackson used to be in the Baltimore Ravens, but what's that been to this point this year? Not the same. They're doing some really impressive stuff. I'm not going to go and look through all the numbers to see whether or not they are historic. I know what I'm seeing is the best defense I've ever seen. And when you've got Pat McAfee saying that this defense is possibly the greatest in the history of football, when you've got two-time Super Bowl champion with a really awesome New England Patriots defense that doesn't get enough credit from the early 2000s, when you've got Rodney saying they've got a championship defense mentality, that's very high praise. Ryan Clark, while making it about himself, compared what the Texans defense is doing to the 2008 Steelers. Again, to bring it back to the Patriots just a little bit, that defense didn't have to face Tom Brady. I don't think they would have done so hot, but it's a really impressive defense. Is it a defense that merits a nickname? This is Kay Adams from the Up and Adams show talking about that. She thinks that they do, especially if they're able to take them all the way to a Super Bowl. Everybody, this is strong, powerful, independent woman, Kay Adams.
I'm convinced that if they get the C.J. Stroud that we saw for the majority of last night, they're dangerous in this weird AFC field. They are. They've now won 5 straight. They're confident. Their playoff chances shoot up to 92%. Woo! I like that. 92 and sunny skies.
Okay, I need you to. You're posting this clip. I'm going to need you to get to the part where you say the defense deserves a nickname.
Have the best total defense that we have seen in the NFL in the last 16 seasons. Okay, that is lore. They've allowed 266.3 yards per game. When you consider the competition that they face, that is unreal. Okay, look at what they've done now. Patrick Mahomes. All
right, well, here's the thing. At some point during this video, and it's too long, and I'm going to get copyright struck for this probably. At some point in this video, Kay Adams asked that question. Texas defense deserves a nickname, especially when they take them to a Super Bowl. Are they going to take them to a Super Bowl? The AFC is wide open, as I've been saying all year. Patting myself on the back a little bit. Everyone does it. And that defense is elite. Super elite. Are they going to be able to make it happen? I don't think it's impossible. It's hard to imagine it, though, actually going down. Bulls on Parade was the last Texans defense name. This is a name that they had during the 2011 season, the 2012 season, when they finally made it into the playoffs. You had J.J. Watt coming into his own specifically in 2012, towards the ends of 2011. You had Brian Cushing in the middle of that defense. It was the last year that D'Amico Ryans was in that defense. You had Jonathan Joseph, Daniel Manning coming over. They were good. But I think they beat up on weaker opponents. I think that they took advantage of an AFC South that was in transition. Peyton Manning wasn't in it anymore. The Jaguars, the Titans were god-awful during that moment of time. Colts did at least get Andrew Luck, but that defense got pantsed by, sorry to always make it about the Patriots, Tom Brady and company in the playoffs during that 2011 to 2012 season. I never really felt like the Bulls on Parade nickname was merited. I know everyone wants to give out nicknames these days. Right? I mean, people already want to give Reed Shepherd a nickname. And hey, Reed Shepherd's had some good moments. But do they merit that nickname? Doesn't a team that has a nickname-worthy defense have to have accomplished something? Is that something we do 5 years after the fact? I get it. They're doing historic stuff. If the offense played a little bit better, we might be talking about an 11-2 team. So let's take a look at some of the teams that have had great nicknames because of what their defense was able to do. These are some defenses that I have not heard of from recent years. The 2019 Patriots were called the Boogeymen. What? The 2017 Jaguars were called Saxonville. That's actually a pretty good nickname. But they only had that 1 year where they were missed call away from potentially beating the Patriots in the AFC Championship game with that fumble return for a touchdown. The 2020 Bucks were called the Gravediggers. I don't remember that. The 2015 Broncos were called the No-Fly Zone. We haven't really had a good one in the last 10 years. Before that, the 2013 Seahawks, who won that Super Bowl, were called the Legion of Boom. That's a great nickname. And they won a Super Bowl. And they got the Seahawks to a second straight Super Bowl, which they lost because then they blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. But before that, what did all these defenses accomplish? You've got the fearsome foursome Los Angeles Rams of the 60s. Anyone remember them? For context sake, we're going to be doing this on the fly, guys, okay? Cut me some slack. Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen, what a name, Merlin. Rosie Greer, Lamar Lundy. This pass rush played during an era where no one counted sacks. This is what they looked like. If you're watching along, trying to open up an image of the fearsome foursome. Yeah, this is actually a pretty iconic look for the Rams back in the day. Here you go. The fearsome foursome. Look how big those face masks are. These are the bike helmet days. Kind of look like practice jerseys, to be honest. Deacon Jones, and I'm not sure which player here is Deacon Jones because I'm looking for something that he might have done. Deacon Jones was famous for putting like a metal plate in his cast and then smacking dudes on the side of the head when he was getting after them, which is a little barbaric. So the fearsome foursome. Did they win any Super Bowls? I don't think they won an NFL champ. They definitely didn't win a Super Bowl. Did they win any NFL championships? There's been a couple of other variants of the fearsome foursome, I guess, too. The New York Giants had one in 1957. Rosie Greer was on that one. The Baltimore Colts had that. Look at this nickname. Tackle Eugene Big Daddy Lipscomb. They had Bubba Smith on that defensive line, too. The San Diego Chargers had that nickname. But the Rams really had it for the 60s and through the 70s. Huh. No Super Bowls for the fearsome foursome. We'll keep on going through it. How about, as we continue to get a little bit further into history, the Doomsday Defense for the 1970 Cowboys. The Doomsday Defense refers to the dominant Dallas Cowboys defenses of the late 60s and 70s, known for their ferocious pass rushing and stifling play, led by Ed Too Tall Jones, Bob Lilly, Harvey Martin, Randy White as well. Doomsday 1, Doomsday 2, these were a part of America's team. They also had some good defensive backs as well. The Doomsday Defense during the dynasty years of the 60s and 70s, they did win 2 Super Bowls. Doomsday Defense, I'm going to say, merited. What else do we have? What other nicknames could we give? Man, this is really getting annoying with TikTok, how TikTok isn't getting promoted anymore because if I post a clip from anything else, apparently that's not good enough. Gonna have to appeal that. What other defenses have had historic nicknames? We've got the no-name defense for the 72 Dolphins. That one's merited. They won a Super Bowl and went undefeated. The Steel Curtain, the 1970s Steelers. They won 4 Super Bowls. Merited. The Purple People Eaters of the late 60s and late 70s. That's for the Vikings. They never won a Super Bowl. The Vikings have yet to win a Super Bowl. I don't know if it's merited. The Grit Splits for the 1970s Falcons. Nope. They didn't do shit. The Dome Patrol, the late 80s, the early 90s. Okay, they had a good defense, but were the Saints good during those years? I'm skeptical about that. I suppose they were. I know Ricky Jackson played for them. You've got the New York Sack Exchange for the early 80s Jets. They did have a lot of sacks, but what the fuck did that do? Mark Gastineau, among others. The Big Blue Wrecking Crew for the 1980s Giants. Yeah, they won some titles. Shut down some great offenses along the way, specifically Joe Montana and the 49ers. The Monsters of the Midway, the 85 Bears. Maybe the most dominant defense ever for one single season. Blitzburg for the mid-90s Steelers. They didn't do shit. Killer Bees for the 82 Dolphins. They didn't win. That was a Dan Marino operation, if I'm not mistaken. So there's been lots of defenses, and not all of them that have these nicknames over time have accomplished a whole lot of anything. So, with that in mind, if you want to give the Texans defense a nickname, you can. I'm just not going to do it quite yet. Wise guy Chris said on TikTok, Bulls on Parade reminds me of the Letterman jackets. Wise guy also suggests Swarm of the South. Ruben Barrera says Bull Doggers. I don't really like that one that much. I don't really like that one. But there you go, guys. I guess you can't share the live anymore on the TikTok side of things because of that. Is this Texans defense historic? 713. Just kidding. What is the voicemail number for this show? I forget what it is off the top of my head. What is it? You can also send a text message in. The phone number for this show, how am I not seeing it all of a sudden, is 281-836-3912. Again, 281-836-3912. Omar F. asks, Paul, what's your nickname? I gave myself two nicknames. I regret both of them. I liked Cordell Stewart with the 90s Steelers back in the day, so I called myself Slash because I had a slash on my forehead. That was the justification. And I had an alter ego while playing high school football. It was the PG Train. Yes. The PG Train, everybody. What a nickname it was. Ben's on Pools. I'm not going to go that far, but shout out to you for watching along on Instagram at Sports Gallant. CJ Stroud's also been getting praise for his performance against the Kansas City Chiefs in Sunday Night Football. And look, he had some moments. I'm just giving him a D because the offense couldn't do shit in the second half. I don't care if Bill Simmons is saying that the Chiefs defense is the best unit on the field like he did. I just don't really buy that. I don't. CJ Stroud had this praise courtesy of Chris Jones after the game. The elite Kansas City Chiefs pass rusher. Here's Jones.
He made a lot of tough passes today, and they caught the ball well. We tried our best to affect him. Multiple different blitzes, getting after him with four. He played tough today.
He played tough today. Yeah, he had his moments, but I'm not gonna go that far. I just can't. I'm sticking with that D grade. I know a lot of people were upset about that, but nah, ain't doing it. I'm just not doing it. You know? Gator don't play that. You just don't. He don't play it. We also had some praise of C.J. Stroud from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan believes that C.J. Stroud could go on a Eli Manning / Joe Flacco-esque playoff run. Sure, maybe. Maybe not. I think Stroud's more talented than both of them. I don't see Stroud getting that hot for 4 games in a row. We just haven't seen it in such a long time. And they're probably going to have to play 4 games in a row. They're not going to get the 1 seed in the AFC unless both the Patriots and Broncos collapse and the Jaguars would have to lose out. You need a lot of help. I don't see it happening. I could see 12 wins, though. I don't think that's impossible. It's been really interesting seeing how Texans fans have handled the win. I see a lot of people digging through this hellscape of an app looking to find specifically Chiefs fans who are upset about what went down. It's a lot of that. And reposting what they're saying and saying, oh, you don't know shit. So let's go through something that we do every single Wednesday. Who has been soft in the world of sports in honor of that one time that LeBron James was called a soft-ass boy by Ime Udoka. Soft boys, in a tough sitch. Ime Udoka thinks you're a bitch. You can nominate yours. YouTube at Paul Gallant, Twitch at Gallant Says, Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports, X at Gallant Says, at Gallant Says Pod. Were the Chiefs soft for after the win by the Texans Sunday night? Rashee Rice left the locker room before reporters entered. Travis Kelce declined interview requests twice. Is that soft? It is a little soft. If you don't want to do an interview after the game, you got to get out of the locker room before anyone sees you. Rashee Rice, just like he left the scene of that hit and run in Dallas, he's good at this. Travis Kelce declining interviews twice after an awful performance where he looked a little intimidated. Check out Seth Payne's video showing how intimidated Chiefs receivers looked. Not a great look. Who else has been soft in the world of sports? Soft boys, in a tough sitch. Ime Udoka thinks you're a bitch. Has anyone noticed the hullabaloo over the sideline interview between Laura Rutledge and Justin Herbert, Chargers quarterback, after Monday Night Football? Has anyone seen that? I remember in the moment thinking to myself, oh man, it's more tense than normal. Rutledge found him on the field, came up to him, asked him if he could speak for a couple of minutes. Herbert said, I want to go celebrate with my teammates. Rutledge said, it's just a couple of questions. Asked him 3 questions. He gave good answers for the first and third question. The second answer, he didn't really say a whole lot of anything. And I saw a lot of people that are in sports media making it about themselves, acting like the many people in their bubble on X and some other apps in particular are representative of everybody who saw this moment. Herbert is required under the NFL's bylaws to do that interview. And I can understand how he'd be annoyed that he had to do it. I bet he didn't think he was on camera. He was on camera. But I think that the people making a big deal out of this are doing a disservice to Laura Rutledge. Do you think Laura wants to deal with any of the backlash that's taking place right now? Are people talking shit about Justin Herbert online because of a moment that was a little awkward, if anything, but nothing really more than that? Laura's got a job to do. What she did was perfectly fine. Herbert has been being asked about his left hand that he had surgery on Monday for the entirety of the week of leading up to this game. And he got hit a bunch in this game. He got sacked 7 times. That hand definitely got hit a few times. And Herbert's getting asked about it some more. He's probably sick of answering questions about it. And NFL players are, especially quarterbacks, are really guarded when it comes to injury information. They don't want any of that shit to come out. Hell, I mean, why do you think the Texans still haven't announced anything about Joe Mixon to this point? There's a paranoia about injury information and injury exchange. And said paranoia is leading to, I think, stuff like this going down. That was a nice pregnant pause, wasn't it? But people are very mad about this. I think that the people who are mad about this, the reporters who were saying, oh, I can't believe Justin Herbert did it, I think they need to get a grip. No one gives a shit. The people that you are talking to online, the people who agree with you, are people like me who are way too on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Who else has been soft in the world of sports? Did anyone see Mitchell Schwartz and his takes after the game. Soft boys, in a tough sitch. Ime Udoka thinks you're a bitch. Mitchell Schwartz used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the guy believed that when Jalen Petrie hit Rashee Rice with that awesome hit over the middle, that Petrie led with his helmet. And a lot of Chiefs fans were co-signing that. Oh, of course, he's got this concussion pad on his helmet. Listen, guys open over the middle of the field. It's a third down. You're going to get laid out if you're running essentially perpendicular. Is that what it is? To a safety who's flying up the field. You're going to get lit up. That was a totally legal hit. Totally legal. He put his shoulder into Rice. Rice's body contorted a little bit. Wasn't expecting it. He hadn't braced for impact. And his head, as he contorted, moved like that. I suppose there was head-to-head contact, but no, that was just a clean, awesome hit. Something that we don't see a whole lot of these days. I'm shocked how much digging Mitchell Schwartz did to defend a take that aged poorly. He was posting grainy video where there were readily available HD 1080p images of what went down. Hell, probably 4K up there. So Mitchell Schwartz, who I'm sure knows ball, I'm sure knows what he's talking about. I don't get why he was so defiant defending, of all people, Rashee Rice. Receivers should be allowed to be hit when they're going over the middle like that. Have your head on a swivel. Defenders have it really difficult. What's Jalen supposed to do? Slow down and catch him? Like, what if slowing down, he loses momentum, and all of a sudden Rice escapes the tackle? Offensive players, man, like you don't seem to realize that the entire league has been catered for you. Who else has been soft? How about the entire NBA? Soft boys, in a tough sitch. Ime Udoka thinks you're a bitch. How about the entire NBA? Anyone see what Jaylen Brown had to say about the current state of basketball and about how flopping is something that if you want to win MVP, you've got to do? Here he is.
If you want to be a great player, you got to sell your soul. You got to be a flopper. If you want to be an MVP, you want to be top of the top, you got to sell your soul and just be a flopper. You know what I mean? Y'all tell me what y'all want me to do. Y'all want me to be on that? I could do it. I could start going to practice and working on working on throwing my head. You know what I mean? Working on, hey, just as soon as somebody touches, hey. World, this new generation, this new era of the floppers. If you want to be a great player, you got to.
If you want to be a great player, you got to sell your soul a little bit. By the way, shout out to Jaylen Brown, who's been playing very well for a Celtics team that a lot of people thought were dead because they didn't have Jason Tatum. Turns out Joe Mazzulla's a great coach. How about that? Who would have thought? One of my favorite NBA takes of mine, saying it. Well, it's crazy that people wanted the Celtics to fire Joe Mazzulla after the collapse that was largely on Jaylen Brown's lack of dribbling back in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago. Who isn't soft? Soft Boys continues. The Houston Texans, Rodney Harrison had some praise for the Texans after the game, but before there was a little bit of backlash because he wasn't so sure they were going to be able to get this thing done. Here is Rodney Harrison with Jack Collinsworth, GAC, and Tony Dungy before that Sunday Night Football game.
If the Texans win, I don't want to play them. If the Chiefs win and get in, I don't want to play them either if I'm in the AFC.
If the Texans win, Coach, I'll have a different level of respect for them because they would have shown me a mental and emotional toughness that I didn't think they had. They're talented. Like when you put them on turf and I look at their defense is loaded. They're talented. And even on the offensive side of the ball, you can see a lot of potential and a lot of talent. But if they can win this game and overcome the code and all that different elements, that's going to give me a different respect for the Texans. And I will believe exactly what you said. People will be scared of them. But if they lose this game, nobody's going to be scared to play the Texans.
Well, Texans won, Rodney. They won. More from Rodney Harrison after the game, talking with Will Anderson. He doesn't think Will Anderson's soft. Here is two-time Super Bowl champion and should be an NFL Hall of Famer, Rodney Harrison, with Will.
I got one more question with you, man. You ignored me when I was trying to talk to you, man. I know you was locked in, but why you ignore your boy? Hey, look, I be so locked in. I do the same thing to my parents. They be screaming, come over, come over. Once I be like tunnel locked in. You mean mugged me too. I was intimidated. I was up there talking to guys like, just get my mind right. I feel you.
Damn. Intimidating Rodney Harrison, that's hard to do. Very hard to do. Will Anderson, not soft. Soft boys, who else is soft? Not Kamari Lassiter. Kamari Lassiter's got some hilarious one-liners. The guy has been a great pick. I did not think that he would turn into this awesome number 2 corner, this hard-hitting player. The way that he did, everyone was saying, oh, he's a slot guy in college. I don't know who is and who isn't, but the guy's been great. And part of a great Texans secondary, Derek Stingley and Lassiter. Jalen Petrie's having a great year, and you got Kalen Bullock as well. Here is Kamari Lassiter when asked about his mentality while on the Speakeasy Talk show. Is that what it's called? It's called the Speakeasy Talk Show. Okay. It's got Emmanuel Acho and Shady McCoy. God, they got 500,000 followers. Give me a gun.
What's your mentality when you go into every game? I know you give the silent signal after every big play. What's your mentality?
My mentality, honestly, is to kill. Like, I go out there, man, I want to play ball. I want to make every play that's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it's a run, whether it's a pass, whether it's special teams, I don't care. If I'm on the field, I'm going to make the play.
My mentality is to kill. God damn. That's impressive. Very, very impressive. Serial killer mindset at times. Kamari Lassiter. Here's more from Speak Talk Easy, whatever the fuck show on, whatever it's on, the internet. That's doing very well. I can't believe people like Emmanuel Acho or Kamari.
Beat Josh Allen, you beat Patrick Mahomes. Have you turned a corner in your mind?
No, sir. It's still the hay's not in the barn yet. I feel like we're finna go back to practice this week. We're finna look at all the plays that we gave up. There's so much more that we can do. There's so much more. So we just gotta tap in and not get complacent. I feel like complacency is the enemy of success. So we just continue to just keep grinding, keep going, and the sky's the limit for us.
Sky's the limit, and hay's not in the barn yet. So with that in mind, I don't know if the Texans defense necessarily deserves a nickname at this moment in time. Question from Mitchell Perry. What's up, Mitchell Perry? In your opinion, do the Texans win more than one playoff game this year? It is certainly possible with this defense. It's hard to imagine a lot of offenses scoring 30 points against the Texans this season. In fact, has that happened yet? I think the Seahawks came closest. The Texans have not allowed more than 29 points. The Jaguars scored 29. Yeah, so they haven't allowed 30 yet. I have a hard time seeing any Texans opponent putting up points on him. But we'll see, man. We shall see. What else do we have? Slow chat today. Not thrilled about that, but that's probably because I didn't schedule the post last night. And TikTok, apparently you can't share clips on TikTok anymore in the live stream. That's a bummer. Who's soft in the world of sports? Soft boys in a tough sitch. Ime Udoka thinks you're a bitch. You know, a lot of people think Notre Dame's soft, taking their ball, going home, and not playing in a bowl game. A bowl game that would likely be aired on ESPN, but I don't fucking blame them. You know, if you're Notre Dame, you have this partnership with the ACC while you're not in the ACC, and a lot of people say, well, they should join a conference. Guys, the ACC is beneath Notre Dame. I'm a diehard fan of Syracuse University. That's my alma mater. The ACC blows. Syracuse had 10 wins in the ACC last season, you know? It's a terrible conference. Florida State's a shell of itself. Miami's not real. I think they're going to get exposed in the college football playoff. It's a terrible conference. Notre Dame shouldn't join it. Notre Dame, if they ever join anything, should join the Big Ten. I don't think they ever will. Notre Dame's a national brand on a level that very few other college football programs are. Always have been. And they were annoyed that despite having a partnership with the ACC, that the ACC was putting up graphics on social media that were pro-Miami and against Notre Dame. They said they had no issue with Miami promoting themselves as being worthy of the college football playoff. They didn't have a problem with that, but they did have a problem with the team with a conference that they're partnered with. That's lucky that they are partnered with them, because it does make the ACC schedule strength a little bit tougher, especially considering a lot of ACC teams, since there's too many teams in it, end up playing schedules where they don't go up against anyone good. Like my Syracuse last year. Syracuse didn't play anyone last season until Miami. That was pretty much it. And they won that game despite being down 21-0 early on. Mario Cristobal, poor reflection on him. Notre Dame makes the ACC better because of their association. So to refuse to play in a bowl game and to give ESPN big ratings because the ACC network was being anti-Notre Dame, I have no issue with that at all. If you're Notre Dame, say fuck ESPN. Fuck them. You don't want them. You don't want to help them. Especially if you're not in the college football playoff. Why play in a bowl game that's only going to help them out? What, so that Notre Dame players can get the goodie baskets? Do they even want to play in a bowl game after not making it to the college football playoff? Probably not. So Notre Dame's not soft, they're petty. And I respect them being petty. They say permanent damage has been done, and they're looking for any way that they possibly can right now to probably get out of their agreement with the ACC. Who else has been soft in the world of sports?
Soft boys, in a tough sitch. Ime Udoka thinks you're a bitch.
You know who's not soft? Former Chargers cornerback Quentin Jammer, who posted this on social media. True story. In 2011, I played completely shit-faced drunk in at least 8 games. God damn. And for those who don't know, Jammer was actually pretty good that season. You take a look at his numbers. I respect the honesty. How do you play a game drunk? Elite athlete. I would not recommend it, kids, but that's an elite athlete right there. It's Wednesday. Let's have some fun. You know, hump day. We're halfway through the week. I'm going to give you guys a little brain rot. How about that? You guys ready? Here's some brain rot. Does anyone know what a tarot card is? I don't. My girlfriend's familiar with this shit. I do not personally understand it. But somebody did a tarot card reading for CJ Stroud on the TikTok. And let's see. How did this go? How do you hear it? There we go. This is sports.tarot yesterday. Let me center this so you guys can see it a little bit better. Nope, wrong one. Nope, also the wrong one. Screw it. We're just going to do it like this, guys. Sorry. Here you go. A sports CJ Stroud energy reading.
All read the NRG and Beyonce. He marched into Arrowhead last night and came out with a win. Let's continue our quarterback energy series today with CJ Stroud of the Houston Texans. We are going to do a 4-card energy tarot reading for CJ today.
I guess it's
looking
tarot.
at his current energy, what is hidden from us, the outsiders, how his energy interacts with his team, and finally, playoffs. Will they make it? Looks like it. How far will they go? Oh, I'm excited about this one today. What a game last night. And for our Ascended Master today, we have a unicorn, close cousin of the Stallion, for Hot Girl Meg the Stallion. Of course. Here we go. Card 1, CJ Stroud's current energy. Fire spirit energy. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Wow. You know what I think? I think in my Patrick Mahomes reading, this might have come up. And I was like, look at him. He's got all the power. He's got all the energy. He might have transferred all that over to CJ last night. You know, wow. Was it a passing of the baton, you know? I kind of got a feeling last night. I mean, seeing, you know, Patty just laying on the ground there. It's like, is his time past? And the new fire, new energy is coming for CJ? Wow. Positive, fiery, passionate energy there. Okay, card 2. What's hidden from us, the outsiders, about CJ? Wood Nymph Beauty. This showed up for Josh Allen. And it stood, I think, for his wife. I'm not getting like a wife or a kind of a woman. I'm getting that although he's very fiery on the outside, I'm seeing a very soft, fluid, very, very maybe possibly sensitive person inside. I need to look up his birthday. This is giving me big water sign energy.
Earlier this year.
But I see, you know, he's got a really good balance here. Look at all these women. You know, she's got the fire, the lightning. They've got the woods. You know, this is showing me he's...
I'm just going to pause for a moment to my beautiful, wonderful girlfriend. I'm not looking at these women on these cards, okay? I'm not looking at those strong, powerful, independent women.
He's really coming into his own. All his powers are working. How does his energy interact with the teams? Ooh, Raven Spirit Truth. So the back is turned. This is giving me, honestly, maybe he's still kind of coming into his own as the leader and maybe not trusting the team fully yet. I'm just getting that vibe. But he knows they're looking up to him. He's the Raven. He's calling. He's spitting the truth out there, calling the plays.
So people do this professionally. I mean, this is just straight bullshit artisting. She is just completely riffing. I've done it before. Sometimes you don't have much to go off of to start a show. What in the actual fuck, though, is any of this?
But maybe, I'm not sure.
She's got Fire Spirit, Wood Nymph, and Raven Spirit.
I see their bond is growing stronger, but I'm not sure if either the team or
Dawn
him is kind of
breaking.
totally...
There's a caption that reads, Dawn is breaking, team bond growing stronger. We might have to do this again. I see a couple of people are like, what the fuck is this? I agree, but it's Brain Rot Wednesday.
Comfortable with each other yet, but I'm seeing it's getting better. We've got light breaking through. Interesting. Wow.
Very interesting.
Card 4, playoffs. Are they going? How far? Let's see. Water Spirit manifesting dreams. Yes, more water here. I'm taking that as a really good sign for the Texans. There's
a card with an otter on it.
Also showed up for Josh Allen, so not sure how that factors into things, but I'm seeing manifesting dreams. I'm seeing not only are they going into the playoffs, but they're going to go pretty far, I think. I think they're coming into their own. This maybe is showing the other teams, you better watch out, because we're getting serious out here.
Okay, we all learned something there. Brain Rot Wednesday continues. Anyone see this moment? Oh, this is a rough one. This is a rough one for our guy. Cool Cal McNair, Houston Texans owner. It's a rough moment for him. Let me center this so you guys can actually see it. Here is Cal McNair watching CJ Stroud walk by him at the end of Sunday Night Football. Right here. Cal McNair's got his hand up. Oh, Stroud just walked by him. Oh, and he caught that the camera saw it. And now he looks ahead. Oh, I don't think he's happy. Damn. Cal's on the sideline. He's freezing his balls off there. It was sub 32 degrees. He doesn't even get a fist bump. Someone did a compilation as we continue on a brain rot Wednesday with a compilation of all the times that Patrick Mahomes got glazed by Chris Collinsworth. I believe I can play the audio of this, but if I don't show the video, we won't get copyright struck. Whatever. Now let's take a listen.
This weekend.
Well, as long as it's not a fake Patrick Mahomes, I think everybody feels like they at least have a chance here. There he is, Patrick Mahomes. He's been through it all, right? He's seen it all. He probably took a look at that throw from C.J. Stroud and said, all right, I've got one of those in me tonight. I'm not going to let him wreck the game, but he's still going to wreck the game. Maybe it's all the time that he spent at the trampoline park he was telling us about. He got his legs working powerfully. All those little routes that Travis Kelce has made famous in the middle of the field where it looks like he's in slow motion, doing figure eights, and
We've got Patrick playing games, it sounds, during the season.
Yeah, we got the reverse tush push. Now we got Mahomes tush and pushing.
All right, I'm 40 seconds in. This was put up by Houston Texans, and listen, all anyone does these days on social media, nothing against him, man. Do you get your followers? But all anyone does these days is you post things that you know a lot of people are going to agree with, even if you don't necessarily agree with it yourself. I just noticed that the caption for this post is historic Texans defense equals historic. Classic, Paulie. Classic. But, I mean, these are just broadcasters talking about guys on the field. You got to talk about the game that's in front of you, right? I at least thought that's how it goes. What else do we have? More brain rot. We've got this Sixers song. Anyone hear this? This is great shit. This is a Philadelphia 76ers song from back in the day when Charles Barkley was on the team. Here you go, everybody. Let's start this over again.
Christmas is that time of year, that special kind of season when sharing, love, and little kids and giving is the reason. Hey, Rick Mahorn, you're looking swell if you just get those sneakers. Just miss you with that Santa hat. He's gonna scare those Lakers.
Hey, as long as we're in the mood, how about the Philadelphia 76 Christmas song? The performance may be lacking, but not the spirit.
We might have to do a montage of the worst songs ever that sports teams put together. There you go, guys. This has been a slow show. It's been a slow chat. Appreciate everyone stopping by. Some comments before we get out of here. PCX believes the tarot card reader. BGHTX just thinks it's funny. What up, Houston Dave? PCX points out on a real note, our interior line got exposed again and couldn't block for shit in the third quarter. Yeah, and Stroud struggled as a result of it, but Stroud's got to be better. Stroud's got to hang in there a little bit more. He's got to step into his throws. He can't underthrow passes. He can't overthrow passes. But we'll see how things go. Big thanks to everybody who tuned into today's edition of the Gallant Says podcast. If you ever have a question, you can send one, gallantsays@gmail.com, or leave a voicemail/text message at 281-836-3912. That's 281-836-3912. It's available on YouTube. Like this video and subscribe if you're watching along. On TikTok, at Gallant Says. We've got to figure out how to make TikTok not get copyright struck in the midst of a broadcast for playing anyone else's content. Instagram, at Sports Gallant. Facebook, at Paul Gallant Sports. Twitch at Gallant Says. Subscribe, follow if you haven't already on X at Gallant Says, at Gallant Says Pod. It's available after the fact wherever you get your podcasts. So if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the Gallant Says podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Until tomorrow at 7 a.m., and we might be thinking about a new time if this is going to be the occasional audience that we get. Maybe we'll do a little bit later in the morning. Until tomorrow, though, at 7 in the morning. So long, farewell, and have yourselves a wonderful